Mark Seifter.
And I'm Linda Silas Palmer.
And this is Arcane Mark. Hello, everyone!
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Arcane Mark. Today we are going to be building a creature together with
That's right.
chat.
It's an Iron Creature Challenge. We will take the ingredients from chat, and whatever those are, which is probably a Chupacabra, we will build that creature with those ideas.
Now, normally we don't come into one of these episodes saying it's probably going to be one thing in particular. We have the poll in the beginning. We don't have any sort of bias or idea of what it's going to wind up being. But in this case, there has been a bit of momentum already building behind this idea in previous chats. So let's go ahead and put
Eric Tehera, who has been asking for Chupacabra for weeks, has come in advance of the stream.
Yes.
Is ready. It is time for everyone to put their ideas for what the creature could be into chat. But Chupacabra is already going to be on the list.
So I see Chupacabra with a laser on its head.
Okay, yes, you could also give specific Chupacabra ideas. One basic one is just like a Supercabra, which is like a much higher level, sort of like the regular Chupacabra in Pathfinder is kind of terrifying for a first level character. They have very powerful like abilities for a creature of their level, but their level is
level
3.
3, so if a Supercabra was like level 14 or something.
The Supercabra idea would be something that's so terrifying that even higher level or at least mid-level adventurers are afraid of it.
So the idea there would be that it keeps with the same general theme, but is just definitely a higher level creature.
So we're putting on as options the Supercabra, high level Chupacabra.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are going to have the laser...
you have to do the bracket.
Yeah, we're going to do the laser Cabra, which is... Now it just sounds like a goat with a laser, but it is a Chupacabra with lasers. Starfinder ready.
Yes.
Ready for Starfinder 2. And Eric is saying that the Supercabra should have drained when it sucks out your blood, whereas the original Chupacabra
is drained 1.
Does do definitely drained 1, and it gives itself
drain.
quicken, but we could possibly have the drain accumulating as the Supercabra just drinks all your blood.
Like one of those like up to drain 4 type nonsense.
Yeah, I could see that. But we will take other options on this vote. This is not a Iron Creature Challenge that has already been decided exactly what creature it was.
Whether they are Chupacabra variants or not.
Does not have to be a Chupacabra. But we shall see. Right now, it looks like chat is pretty Chupacabra-centric. So I'm not seeing anything else that has been proposed here. So let's put these Supercabra, and the Laser Cabra into a vote. So vote A or B for Supercabra and Laser Cabra as our concepts for this monster that we're creating here tonight. Now, even though we knew it would probably be a Chupacabra, Linda and I did not build any degree of this Chupacabra in advance. We are going to build it here on the fly as we do in these design challenges. So, let's see what we have here. Oh, we also have a C, a third option. It is the Fourth Wall Kool-Aid Man Sockhill. It is the fear of like metagaming / the fourth wall. So that is the third idea that we have on here, and you can vote for the Supercabra, the Laser Cabra, or the Fourth Wall Kool-Aid Man Sockhill. All right, it looks like we have 2 votes for the Supercabra so far. So the Supercabra is going to be in the lead.
So Eric mentioned an ability to use illusions.
Would be part of the Supercabra. That would definitely be something that would set it apart from the regular Chupacabra, which, despite the fact that it is a beast due to its relative intelligence over like a wolf, does not really have anything that's necessarily supernatural. If the idea of sucking blood, like sucking a goat's blood is something that like theoretically an animal could do. But we can make a supernatural more like, I wouldn't even say trickster because it's more malevolent than that.
Yeah, and Eric's also talking about being really difficult to find and stealth. Yeah.
Right. It's sort of a cryptid style Chupacabra that has more of the cryptid abilities of hiding and some illusions.
Okay, so another thing that I'm thinking about this guy is that are chupacabras traditionally fast? Because
So chupacabras in the legends are sometimes fast, but the chupacabra
Here is- the
basic
same
one
speed
is
as,
the same
like, a
speed as a
human.
human.
so like should they be? I feel like maybe they should be able to run people down.
All right. So
Oh, and then Eric was talking about maybe like a Fae version too.
yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
Okay,
it could be a
so-
Fae. So it looks like Supacabra has one. That's not his actual name. That was just the concept name. So the Supacabra here is going to be like a cryptic Fae sort of realm of fairy or first world in the Pathfinder parlance, or Feywild in the D&D parlance version of Chupacabra that is created not just from natural birth, but from the stories and urban legends of chupacabras have shaped this being of the fairy tales out of myth and legend. And so because of that fact, we've got this this sort of legendary chupacabra.
So we're talking about illusions that make you hard to find.
So what would we call this fairy tale chupacabra, or this urban legend, the tall tale chupacabra?
Is it going to be called like Chupacabra blank?
Maybe it is called like, the chupacabra incarnate, because of the fact that it is the incarnation of the legend. The legends of the chupacabra.
So it's probably going to be like an uncommon Fae, I would imagine. How big is that?
So it's going to be a Fae. It's got to be at least as big as the original chupacabra, which is actually small. And it says that chupacabras can grow up to medium size and have wings in the ecology for Pathfinder. The medium chupacabras are more powerful chupacabras. So, and they're elite. So they're like around level 4, the medium size chupacabras.
But I feel like also...
But
like,
this one is stronger than that. So
Yeah.
it's got to be at least as big as the biggest that a chupacabra normally would get.
I
It
feel
might
like
be
maybe
bigger.
Maybe it's large, because like with grabbing hold of creatures, then it would have an easier time.
I think that's right, and just also the way that legends exaggerate things is like the creature was this big.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
You expect creatures to get bigger and bigger as the tale is told.
So I like
So-
this Nightmare of Farmer's Eater Volgar. Yeah.
Yes, I definitely like that too.
Yes.
So I think that it's going to be large. I agree with that. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a large fae
Yes.
and beast. You can be both. Unicorn,
Mm-hmm.
for example, is both a beast and a fae. Now, let's figure out what level it is by having a vote in chat. So chat, just put any level for this higher chupacabra that is formed of the urban legends, all the worst stories about chupacabras. It has to be significantly higher than 4, which is the level of a normal, like, elite, like, sort of
Yes.
alpha chupacabra. So it should be significantly higher than 4. So you've got a lot of options here. If you put it in at around 7, it could hang out with some of the elite chupacabras or chupacabras. But if you put it way above that, it can have way stronger abilities and just be in its completely own league compared to the basic chupacabra.
I see 14 to 16
Yeah, I have 14.
here.
Yeah, 14 is definitely, and you've got
14.
another 14. Yeah, 14 just seems right. That was about what I was thinking anyway. I just wanted to make a pitch for a 7 that could be used with other chupacabras, but I think 14 feels more like this idea of it's like the combination of all of the sort of cryptid stories of a chupacabra. So we've got this level 14 Fae chupacabra. So that's going to be a creature 14. And already we know from that it's going to be a lot stronger than the basic chupacabra.
So one of the first things I'm thinking about with level 14 and looking at the basic chupacabra is popping that word improved before its grab.
So I think it definitely needs to have an improved grab. That's for sure. Let's look at the basic chupacabra's stats. The basic chupacabra has a dexterity that's its highest, followed by strength, and then its constitution and wisdom are both good too. Its charisma is very
garbage,
low, but I
this
think
one's
the
gonna be better
fairy tale
'cause-
one
yeah.
would have higher and possibly be able to intimidate you.
Yes, exactly.
So I think that's got to be true. Also, since it's large, I feel like its strength probably has increased to match its dexterity as its best one.
Yeah.
Now, at level 3, it had high as its dexterity. So level 14, it may have high as well, but high in that case is actually plus 8.
Yes.
So that would be strength
It's
and
8,
dexterity
yes.
plus 8. Constitution would be now chupacabras normally had a constitution that was more of like their medium.
Yeah.
Actually, it was even lower than that before, but that's fine. We can make it plus 5, which is a moderate stat for them at this time. Charisma can be plus 4, which is low, but like it's not like
It's still going to
off
be
the
enough
ground
to spook
low.
people.
Now their intelligence is, which is -3, the highest for a non-animal on a basic chupacabra. But it seems like these ones are probably like as smart as a human.
Yeah.
They're probably
And
intelligence
then I
plus 0.
imagine wisdom, a bit of wisdom to be cunning.
Yeah, wisdom was around where constitution was in
Yeah,
the past.
because they would want to be able to follow tracks.
Yeah, let's give them a wisdom
their prey.
of plus 5 and actually bump the constitution up to 6 so that we have 8, 8, 6, 5, 4. And then maybe just to make it even more different, we can have strength plus 7. So
Yeah.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 0 for its attributes here. So this is like a pretty intense creature with plus 8 strength. Or sorry, plus 8 dexterity. It is more dexterous than any PC in Pathfinder 2nd Edition would be.
I see some mentions in chat about like a variant that was like a Leshy killer.
I mean, it's a chupacabra, so it's probably going to not only go after goats at level 14. Now, chupacabras normally have a middle of the line perception. It's not absolutely spectacular. It's not bad at all. It's right down the middle. I feel like this one is better at stealthing and probably roll stealth for initiative.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're seeing in chat. Therefore, I think it won't improve on its perception that much. But it will, since its dexterity is
Does
so
the
high,
base
for improve
chupacabra
on
have
stealth.
scent? Because I feel like this
So-
one should have scent.
It's going to have perception plus 25, which is also down the middle for its new level. So the base chupacabra has
Actually,
only
doesn't
dark
have scent,
vision.
but I
It does
feel
not
like this
have
one should
scent.
have
If this
scent.
one needs to have scent.
It needs to be able to smell you.
It's going to need
And
to
to blood.
have scent, and that's going to be imprecise 120 feet.
Yeah, let's smell you from a long way.
Or 1 mile if bleeding. So like
Yeah.
sharks. But sharks do that because of the water. 'cause
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense to be able to smell blood from a mile away,
But
not
if
in the
you're
water.
magic.
But if you're a magic chupacabra, it's blood. That's what you wanna do.
Excellent.
So that's gonna be the chupacabra's scent ability. Let's see what we have here. And yeah, there could be a variant. I see what you're saying about the
Yeah,
about
that's
the
what I was saying
chlorophyll.
about like we're talking about the chlorophyll and things like
I
that.
feel like this one is just going to be able to drink from anything that it
anything
wants.
that it wants, yeah.
Anything that can bleed, which plants technically can, because
Yeah.
they've got something inside of their bodies
It
there.
kind of makes me wonder, like, does this one have a taste for like sapient creatures in particular?
Yeah, like it's called chupacabra, but it might definitely be one that also chupas the cabra's keepers
Yes.
instead of just the cabra. So does this actually have languages that it can speak? It might. In fact, regular chupacabra has Aklo and can't speak any languages. So even the basic chupacabra does understand languages. So I will just... And Aklo is a Fey language.
It is,
so we're
yeah.
already on the way there. We'll just add Fey in addition to Aklo, and we'll say that it can speak.
Yes, and language.
In like a growling voice.
Yes.
If it chooses. And its skills are going to be...
We know it needs stealth.
It's
and
going to need
acrobatics
stealth. It
and
already had
athletics.
stealth, but its stealth was not as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
And its new stealth is going to be better. And it's going to have intimidation.
Yeah. Are there any other skills that folks would want to have other than acrobatics, athletics, intimidation, and stealth?
Tell us in chat if there are other skills that you're going to pitch for this Chupacabra Incarnate that are not those ones. Meanwhile, I will grab a list of possible skills. We know that it's going to be really good at stealth, so we're going to do plus 28, but plus 30 in
And
undergrowth or rocky areas.
Yeah.
So stealth is going to be plus 28, plus 30 in stealth, or in undergrowth
under the rocky
and
areas,
rocky
yeah.
areas. Yeah, absolutely. Then its acrobatics is probably also
Quite
plus
good.
28. Whereas
No, I'm noticing
its
there's a thing
athletics
here.
maybe.
Wait, is it using acrobatics to leap there?
For its special
Ability there?
ability, which special ability is that? The
Up in the top,
oh,
it says...
to leap. Yeah, weirdly it is using acrobatics to leap, which is not standard.
That may have been a
that may have been a typo.
And
It was
it meant to
supposed
be
to
in
appear in
athletics,
athletics, so I think I'm gonna put it in athletics.
In athletics, yeah.
So for athletics, we can use a maybe a plus 25, but then say that it's really high to leap.
Do we need to
Plus
worry about its
29
leap, though,
to
if it
leap.
can fly?
Well, the winged chupacabras can fly, and so
But can
these
this
could
guy-
probably also
Yeah.
fly if there exists any kind of chupacabras that can do it. But you know what? It might
It
need
might as
to
well
leap.
be good at leaping.
It
Yeah.
might. There's no reason it can't be leaping. And so then this one is also gonna have it's
Maybe
gonna-
kind of like
plus
moderate
24 intimidation, basically the same proficiency but lower charisma than Dex for its intimidation. Let's see if there are any other skills that we have in here.
Oh,
So there's a suggestion for
feint-
deception if it wants to feint or trick you.
Oh,
Use
yeah.
its voice to lie and
Oh,
be
yeah,
like,
I
I'm
like
not
that
a
idea.
chupacabra, I'm your friend. Alright, so let's give it a deception of, let's see what
Especially
the
because
ranges
it's got
are.
illusions going on.
Yeah, it does. So let's give it plus 22.
So,
So
this,
its deceptions can be noticed. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's quite good at them, but for its level, people could figure it out, but it is a chupacabra in the end.
okay, but this has me thinking in terms of illusions. There's invisibility, but there's also, like, the kinds of spells that mess with the terrain and confuse people
Like
about what's going on.
illusory scenes.
Like illusory
and
scenes and that, and, like, mirage type stuff.
right, like
Which I think, did that get pulled into in the
like
remaster?
I can't
something
remember like between hallucinatory terrain and Mirage Arcana whether either of those names were
Mirage
kept.
Arcana, I don't think made it as
I
a
think
name
that
into
it's. It
Pathfinder
didn't
2
even
as a
make it
whole.
into Pathfinder 2 as a whole. I think I got rid of it and just called them both
Mirage
a heightened hallucinatory terrain.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So it definitely seems like something that could trick you with those kinds of situations.
yeah.
So we've got some skills, and we've got our language, we've got our top block.
Mm-hmm.
But let's think a little bit about our defenses for the moment here.
So, one
The
thing
basic
I wanna...
chupacabra doesn't have any special defenses. It obviously is more dexterous because it's leaping around than it is with fortitude, and its will is its weakest point.
Yeah, one thing I want to consider that's going to be farther down but is going to impact this as well is when it drinks blood, does that improve its defenses or regenerate hit points or do any of those other kinds of things?
So that is a good question. The basic chupacabra quickens, which improves its offenses a little bit if it can drink some blood. I would say there's no need to go into its saving throws, probably, unless we have things from chat, because that's just like something that's not very visible to the players.
No, I meant in terms of like
Whereas
the
getting hit
healing
points back is something that's
from
more
drinking
visible.
blood
So
is kind of like a stereotypical vampiric thing and could potentially
if we
be
have fortitude plus let's see, could plus 25 work? That would be, yeah, that could probably work. Reflex plus 28 could work. And will plus 19, 22 could work. Its proficiency is not the greatest in will in that case. So it can just use high, medium, low for its saves.
Seems
I
legit.
think that will work. So let's see what we're saying on here on this chupacabra.
Oh yeah, I thought
It did get
yeah.
changed to just be
Sounds
called
good.
Mirage in the remaster. Yeah, I figured. I was going to look it up eventually.
Oh, that's an idea too of like illusion cabras. It's a solitary predator rather than a group, but it could like fake that there are others around.
Fake the idea that there are other ones. So obviously, if we're making something in the remaster that's not allowed to use any of the legacy stuff, you can't use mirror image, but we can if we want. And
Yeah.
so therefore we could use a mirror image if we feel like it. So let's take a look at its defenses here. So we have its saving throws. In terms of its armor class and its hit points, if it is able to like drain some hit points back and other things like that by sucking blood, then it might have fewer hit points.
Does
Although
it have a
since
weakness
that
to cold iron since it's Fey now?
since that healing is sort of active, it is not as necessary to go after its hit points at as much of a degree as it would be if it passively automatically
Yes.
regenerated. Now, if it was a Fey Chupacabra that was just kind of a Fey creature to begin with, it would be fairly likely to have Cold Iron weakness, although not all of them do. But since it's
Since it's,
based
like,
on the
kind of
legends
a-
of the Chupacabra and they don't have a legend of being weak to Cold Iron, I would say probably doesn't have
Yeah.
a weakness, but we'll see what people are saying in chat about this legendary Chupacabra based upon all the urban legends and cryptid myths of the Chupacabra. And it looks like the chat says Cold Iron, so it's a Fae.
Yeah.
So it would have a weakness to Cold Iron then, and because of the fact that it's such a high level of Chupacabra,
That's gonna be a lot.
it's gonna have a pretty significant weakness at that level. It would probably
Level
have like
14.
somewhere around 10, which is on the low end for level 14, but that's still pretty
Still
high.
quite a hefty weakness. So
I would say because the original Chupacabra didn't have any,
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense to be on the low end
so yeah, weakness 10
for its
to
level.
Cold
So
Iron.
that's weakness 10, weaknesses, Cold Iron 10. So with the Cold Iron weakness, we can give ourselves some more hit points. Maybe we'll just add some healing into Suck Blood and call it good.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's usually easier for the PCs to trigger Cold Iron weakness than it would be for the Chupacabra to use Suck Blood, so maybe the Suck Blood can heal for more than 10. We can
Yeah.
figure it out. So, if we're looking at that then, hit points kind of like standardly would be somewhere around 255, maybe 256 just because that is a power
Nice
of
round
2.
number, yep.
It's a power of 2.
Yay.
And then for armor class, like probably just use the high AC
Which
of
is 36 for its level. Yep.
So if we do AC 36, we can grab the saving throws
And pull them up
and
onto
pull
that
them up
line.
onto that line. And
Alright.
we are good to go on our defenses. We can come back here if we come up with special defenses while we're doing this.
Speed.
So yeah, speed. So a basic Chupacabra is only 25. But honestly, Chupacabra, we determined flying Chupacabras can already fly
At a speed of 50 feet.
at a speed of 50 feet. So clearly, this special Chupacabra should at least be able to move, and they're much lower than the 14, should at least have a 50-foot speed just for its basic
Yeah.
land speed. Speed's 50 feet,
And then
fly 50 feet. That's bare minimum.
Yeah.
Is 50 feet on land and in the air.
Maybe
And-
it's like even faster on land.
I could see that. I could see it being like 60 feet on land,
Yeah.
50 in the air. So it's better if it could go on land.
Yeah,
If
and,
it can.
and even if you're like, yeah.
Ignores difficult terrain from undergrowth and rocky
Yes.
areas. Because, I mean, that's where it likes
I
to
want to check
hide.
out, yeah, how fast is a goat? Because these guys definitely should be able to outrun goats.
Well, I mean, if we look at, like, the goat animal companion, the goat animal companion is 35 feet.
Yes.
So the original Chupacabra could not outrun a goat, but this one can.
Yes.
This one could easily outrun the goat.
Yes.
We-
And since it ignores difficult terrain and greater difficult terrain from undergrowth and rocky areas, the goat's gonna like try to climb up the mountain to protect itself, and the Chupacabra's gonna be like, I don't care.
I do not care. I am a Chupacabra.
It also can fly, even if it couldn't fly.
Yep, so it's going to have a finessable jaws,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to have a
Probably agile
agile and
finessable
finesse claw, just like the original Chupacabra. And it grabs with the jaws and not the claw, even though you
Yes.
might expect otherwise, but improved grab. We want to make it so that the claw does something interesting, though, so maybe the claw does bleed.
Yeah.
Plus bleed. XX bleed. Then it's going to have pounce because the original has pounce. So it definitely
Yes.
at least needs to have pounce.
Yes.
So that is going to be pounce, the Chupacabra incarnate strides and makes a strike at the end of its movement, etc., etc. And then it's going to have some ability to suck blood, but it's going to be better than the original Chupacabra's ability to suck blood. So let's take a look at what we can do there. So if we have the original Chupacabra said it has a creature grabbed, it sucks the blood, gain quickened for a minute to stride or strike, and
It can't suck blood
you
again.
can't do
once
this
we-
again until the quickened is over.
Yeah, you definitely don't want that.
So this
blood
one
anymore.
definitely can do that. So that would be a Chupacabra incarnate that sucks blood again, while it is quickened in this way,
Extends
the duration for another minute. Or until the end. It extends the duration until the end of... Well, basically, we want it to be 1 minute from when it used it.
Yeah.
So it'd be like refreshes the duration rather
Yeah.
than extends. That should make it clearer.
Yeah.
Refreshes the duration. Creature has its blood drained by a Chupacabra incarnate is drained 1. And instead of drained 1 until it receives any healing and then it's fine, it would be is drained 1. Or if it was already drained...
The value of its drain condition increases
value
by 1.
of its drain
maximum drain
condition increases by 1 to a maximum of drained 4. Yuck, but it is a 14th level creature, so it's got to at least have that. So now we know that the Super Cabra is going to have its illusions. So it's going to have spell casting. So that would be probably innate spells. I would say primal innate spells.
Yeah, because it's a fae.
Yep, and it's going to be a DC. So this is like sort of its secondary job, although it is level 14 when you kind of need to do something if you want your spells to do anything.
Yeah,
so,
we're pretty close to the point where primary spellcasters would jump to extreme.
That's correct. So moderate would be 31.
We need higher than moderate.
High would be 34. Its charisma is which is probably using for these spells is +4. So if it was a master of being a Chupacabra with its not that great charisma, it would have a what is that, a 34?
34, yeah.
And what did we say that was the high?
That's the high,
And if it was an expert of being a Chupacabra, it would have a 32, which is above the moderate and by a little bit. So I think that given it's using a +4 stat at that level, we could probably make it a 32 and say it's a master of being a Chupacabra. Of its Chupacabra DC. So DC 34 for its primal innate spells, and it's gonna have Mirage, we said. It's gonna have an illusory scene.
Is it gonna have invisibility too, or is it relying on Pounce for that?
I think it probably does have an invisibility.
Is it 4th rank invisibility?
And it would be 4th or more.
Or more, yeah.
Figure out what level, what rank illusory scene heightened is, and just put them all at that so that they're harder to counteract. So that would be 6th or 8th for unlimited.
But
I don't think it needs unlimited on its illusory seeds.
Also, that would be higher level than its natural level. So.
That is another issue with it. I mean, some creatures do that, but I don't think it needs
if
that.
You can avoid it.
So I think it can be.
And what level is Mirage by default?
It's definitely not 6th. Although we should make sure that 6 doesn't like turn it into some kind of berserk mode. So if we look up Mirage, it says 5th is the most.
Yeah.
It's 4th or 5th. So we can give it...
And none of this stuff is in caps, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, we can give it Mirage, Illusory Scene, and Invisibility all at 6th rank.
Yep, and Mirage can go at the end for alphabetization.
It can go at the end for alphabetization. And the question is, how many times can it do all of these things? So I feel like that it could probably do them a lot, but also like
not completely it will.
Not completely every time.
Is it 3 times each per day?
The problem is putting them in primal innate spells, we almost have to give a number of times per day. We can't do like a per amount of time, because I'd rather do a per amount of time, but that's just not how it standardly is done for innate spells. So yeah, we can do a ×3.
Unless it has something that refreshes duration based on certain things with blood, but it can only do that at a certain frequency.
I'd rather just give it like an illusory scene once per hour, a Mirage once per 10 minutes, and a invisibility once per...
Yeah, let's do that.
10 minutes, but I don't think you can for an
You would have to write it out as, like, separate abilities.
I guess sometimes they say, like, this does cold damage or something like that. I'll just put in once per hour.
And we can assume that if this were spec'd out, like, in a publication stat block, they would have to, like, write them out as separate abilities.
Well, sometimes depending on what you're doing in copy fit, sometimes some weird things show up in
Yes.
parentheses, like self only, boneyard only.
Yeah. That's true.
For like a interplanar teleport, something like that.
So, does this
has got some
guy have
illusions.
sneak attack?
So that is a good question in terms of how his damages are dealt. So.
Oh, I see. Eric was also talking about potentially limiting how often it could suck the blood, depending on how powerful it was.
Yeah, I would say that is a good question because of the fact that right now it can just grab you and then it can suck your blood over and over again and it automatically succeeds.
Maybe once per round?
Yeah, it probably would be frequency once per round.
Because it is a very iconic ability, but I agree with you that if it could do this, like, lots of actions in a row, that could be an issue.
Yeah, and then at that point, if you're going to get more drained than this, then that means that you've been there for a while and you did not get out.
Yeah.
So we'll put in a cooldown, like was mentioned in chat.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got all of these...
Yeah.
We've got all these abilities.
I was thinking
that we
about
put
the
into
sneak attack in particular because of the mention of like fainting, and then pounce about remaining hidden, and then you've got invisibility. So there's a lot of things about you not being noticed.
Yes, so we can use sneak attack as part of how it gets its damage out.
Mm-hmm.
So it does mean that it definitely wants that invisibility up because it's gonna have difficulties doing the some of its damage if it can't catch the opponent off guard.
Mm-hmm.
And off guard, a Chupacabra Incarnate deals, we'll just say, I don't know, 2d6 additional
piercing
damage.
Yeah. Or precision damage, right?
Precision damage.
I don't know, I said piercing.
Yes.
I meant precision. Rogue Cobra.
With its strikes against off guard creatures. And so now we know that when we're figuring out the damage here, we can do what we want involving.
But I also want to loop back to that idea of like creating some kind of like shadow mirror clones of itself to confuse people.
But I would like to do that after we figure out its strike, since we're in the middle of that with the sneak attack.
Sounds good to me.
So this
All right, looks
guy,
like our high accuracy for this level is 29.
It is 29, and if we did that, we would be aiming at about 34 and then 28 damage. So we can always do that if we want.
28's like the moderate damage. You go
34 and 28 would be the damages for the jaws and the claws.
Oh yeah. And then the sneak attack part of it.
That would include the sneak attack.
Yeah. But no, sneak attack, doesn't sneak attack usually potentially kick it slightly higher because of the fact that it's situational?
It sometimes does, but in that case, we would use moderate accuracy if we were going to give it extreme damage.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, and we're going high accuracy
here. We're going high accuracy, so we're going up to high damage, unlike a rogue.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. That's right. We pulled the high accuracy.
Because we pulled the high accuracy.
Sounds good to me.
So in that case, what we'd be looking at here is something like, since we've got 7 strength.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd be looking at something like...
what's our proficiency?
22. Yeah. Our proficiency is like kind of master-ish. Mm-hmm. So we'd be probably doing like plus 13 on the damage. Which, given that we have a plus 7 coming from sneak attack, is going to be 20-ish. So we probably do 3d8.
Yeah, 3d8
plus 13 on the jaws, plus improved grab, and then the claws would be something like 3d4 plus improved grab and sneak attack. Or should we list that, or is that I can't remember? Is it usually listed? It usually isn't listed. You just have to remember it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is going to be 3d4 plus
3, and then
13
persistent bleed.
Plus yes. So this is going to be plus like. We'll just make it 1d12 persistent bleed. So it's very swingy. Yeah. You don't know what it's going to be with the Chupacabra.
It's going to
All right, so we took care of its strikes while we were looking in here. So we were looking at that. Is it going to have the ability to conjure up some Chupacabra images? Obviously, it could create an illusory scene that has other Chupacabras in it.
That's true.
Other than itself. and then be hiding amidst the illusory chupacabras.
So
that
yeah,
one
we
of them is
actually
real.
can already do that. And
So
he
it
basically
kind of can
creates
already
a
do
terror forest that's full of chupacabras, only one of
which is
only one
actually
which is real,
the
which you
chupacabra.
don't see because it's invisible until it pounces you and eviscerates
You see 5 chupacabras. All of them are fake because the real one's invisible.
Yes.
And then it attacks you.
Yes.
And even then you don't see it because it's actually a high rank invisibility.
Yes.
So
you just see your ally bleeding and then having
yes,
their blood
it's like
being
why all 5 of the
exsanguinated.
chupacabras aren't doing anything? Why are we dying?
Yeah.
And it's because the real one is actually invisible.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool, but I feel like it should be able to have like one more shtick as a level 14 creature. That's what it seems like to me, is that it's missing. Oh, also the suck blood should gain some, in addition to being nasty here, when a creature
it doesn't have the
is
healing yet.
drained in this way,
Yeah.
the Chupacabra incarnate recovers, I'm going to say 20 hit points. It's limited to once per round. It can get rid of 2 ticks of weakness if it manages to suck its blood.
Insert Dr. Allegrat explaining that while you're looking at one chupacabra, 2 others attack you from the side.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So we've got this Chupacabra incarnate.
Okay, so the thing that I'm thinking about here is, like, we were talking about this thing being really flipping scary.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it should have some ability about being really flipping scary.
I could see that. So this would be like
Primal Fear or something like that, where it just like.
So we can give it a Primal Fear. Would that be like a aura of Frightful Presence?
Yeah, it could just flat out have Frightful Presence.
I think that makes sense.
And then also, because Frightful Presence doesn't require you to know exactly where it is. You're just like, where is it? I don't know. I see these chupacabras. I'm scared. The source of your fear isn't even what you actually. Do you have to? Does Frightful Presence usually require you to actually see the thing?
I mean, not necessarily.
Or is it
If
just
you
like this
look at
aura of
Frightful
malice?
Presence creature ability, it just says if you
That's true.
enter the area, you take it.
Yeah.
So we can just put Frightful Presence, aura, emotion, fear, mental,
And then the DC.
and then the range and the DC.
Yeah.
So that would be aura, emotion, feel, mental. We'll say it's 60 feet. DC. Now that will be 31.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think that it probably should have some kind of a special ability here that is like kind of like the Brainchild's ability, where the Brainchild, which is like this imagined creature that is also an urban legend that became persistent.
Mm-hmm.
Not the one where like it gains abilities that people think it has. That's an interesting one from Brainchild, but instead the defensive ability, persistence
like the
of memory.
one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it the persistence of memory ability from a Brainchild as its last ability. Though
And
that
would be it's an illusion, but it's not.
It would be
primal in this case,
instead of
since
a
it's
cult.
Fae, yeah.
Yes. When a Chupacabra incarnate is destroyed, it returns if anyone still fully believes it exists, reforming within 100 feet of any believer after 2d4 days.
Yeah, so
So
like
as
you're not
long
gonna kill
as
it.
the story of Chupacabras being this ridiculous exists, the Chupacabra incarnate exists. But there maybe is only one Chupacabra incarnate in the world. It could be a unique creature, in fact.
Yes.
Like brain children generally are rare.
but they're brain
but they're
children of
different
ideas,
brain
yeah.
children. Whereas
So maybe this is a unique creature.
this could be rare or unique.
Rare or unique, yeah.
Let's ask chat.
What do you think? Is this guy
Chupacabra
rare?
incarnate rare or unique? It's obviously not more common than that. For this very, is there just one that is like, this is the archetypical Chupacabra, and this gives an example for how someone could make these types of creatures in their game for not Chupacabra. You couldn't just use the same techniques we used here to make unique, legendary, like cryptid / urban legend creatures. All right, I see from chat, unique, it's special. So yeah, you can make unique incarnate creatures. I see a rare there also. So I think it could be that I see another for unique. So this is how you make a unique creature
I
that
think
is the
Unique's
urban
got it,
legend
yeah.
that is the urban legend version
Unique's the one rare.
of a common creature or
Mm-hmm.
a more common creature, and you could do the same thing with your favorite monster
Absolutely,
that we did here
and we
today.
kicked it. I mean, we kicked this guy up by 10 levels, and then
From the already advanced version,
from the
and
already
11
advanced
from the original.
version, yeah. And then we it's like, you know, it became a Fae, and it gained all these things that were more powerful versions of its abilities, but still, it still keeps that general core idea of blood sucking.
So this strongly suggests that you can take a very famous creature that's in stories, move it about 10 levels up, turn it into a Fae, and there's ecology of these Fae unique legendary beings that are out there. And, you know, there's probably the unique incarnate owlbear.
Yeah.
That was the story of the first owlbear that's 10 levels higher than an owlbear, and
Absolutely.
you build it just like that. It would
definitely would
also be
shred
a
people
Fae.
to pieces
It would
there.
also be a Fae, and you would have the, you know, the incarnate first version of like any of the other sort of classical creatures.
Incarnate gelatinous cubes gonna like eat your entire city.
That's right. It's just like one that can just grow bigger and bigger somehow.
Yup.
And so this is what we've got in terms of this creature. I think it's got just enough for level 14 to not be too hard to run while still being interesting. It's actually a fairly simple for a level 14 other than the spells.
Yeah.
Which
so,
is good, but
Kojo
the
was asking,
spells
is
are
this
pretty
unique
strong.
Chupacabra incarnate the source material for the other normal Chupacabra? I mean, it could
Scholars
go that
aren't
direction,
sure.
or it could go that direction, or it could be that this creature was created from like the combined fear that creatures throughout the world have of Chupacabra was
Yes.
condensed into this being.
Who knows whether it's chicken and the egg, right? Did this unique Chupacabra like spawn the other Chupacabra, or
Yeah.
were the other Chupacabra around them? People feared it. They told stories. It grew bigger and bigger until you got this unique Chupacabra.
I'm gonna tell you one thing: if you go up to this guy and ask him, he's just gonna. You're not gonna get an answer.
He's probably gonna lie, if anything, using plus 22 deception. So
Yep. I mean, that's assuming you survive the encounter,
that's-
which you probably won't.
it might lie and then kill you.
Yes.
You never know. So we've got this creature. We've now made the Chupacabra
Yeah, Eric
incarnate.
likes the idea that like it's the other Chupacabra, its children. This is like the progenitor of Chupacabra kind. It's a mortal creature.
The first Chupacabra.
Yeah.
And it's immortal as long as you believe in Chupacabra. As long as anyone truly believes that it exists.
Yes. Kojo scholars aren't sure is used a lot in writing because it's sort of, particularly for published tabletop RPG projects. So it's kind of like the hey GM, you pick which way you want this to work in your setting, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it also, the thing is that if you put a definitive answer to a mystery in a rulebook, then the players read it and it's not a mystery anymore. But if you put a, like, it could be A or it could be B, then the GM can decide and it remains a mystery for the players.
Mm-hmm.
Chupacabra pie. The first Chupacabra, yes.
So, incarnate creatures represent the fey reflections of urban legends grown out of control. As represented in the realm of fairy.
Mm-hmm.
This, and then we could say, is this Chupacabra incarnate the first Chupacabra?
Scholars debate more than anything
Is the first Chupacabra from which the others originated? Or the result of worldwide fear of Chupacabras?
Condensing.
Scholars-
Yes.
Yes. Condensed into and incarnated
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, incarnated. 'Cause
into its own being. Scholars debate this question to this day, and those who have sought to ask the Chupacabra incarnate have never returned. There we go. So, we've created this. We did the whole thing all in just about 40 minutes. We've succeeded at the Chupacabra challenge. So, we're going to put this Chupacabra in to the workshop.
At tiny.cc
Tiny.cc
slash
/RKMark. Our message is too long.
Cut it into pieces.
We're going to cut it up.
Cut
Is
it at
it
melee.
close? It was not close.
Cut it at melee.
Hold on. We can cut it at melee. There we go. So, if you go to tiny.cc/arcademark, which I will put into the chat just for you. Actually, honestly, we should put it into the video description. But
Yeah,
I
we
didn't.
should.
I didn't do it. You can go
I got my
and
elephant pieces.
now you will be able to just find the full stats on the Discord in the workshop sub-channel of the Arcane Mark category. So join the Discord if you'd like to join the community and see this. Please like and subscribe
Thank
to
you
show
everyone for
people
joining us and for the Chupacabra idea. This is fun.
to show the algorithm that you like these Iron Creature Challenge ideas, or you can even join us if you'd like to give us some support and become life leshies. Now
Let's
it's
toss
time
some
for
XP
one
in the
last.
direction of our live viewers and
Linda,
new
I
poll.
just gave them XP.
Oh, excellent.
So let's do one more poll before we go for the next Tuesday's episode. So you can see it here in the chat.
Now, I did think I saw there were some votes up
There
at top.
were some votes
Let's
at the
grab
top.
those
They were
votes.
both for 3, and all 3 of them were
Kojo,
for 3.
Eric, and Rising Star all voted for 3. It's going to be very difficult for anything other than 3 to win.
See if you can unthrone 3 if you want.
Rising Star is reminding us of the 3 votes.
Vote for 1 to build a deity and do a deity challenge here. Vote for 2 for a Save My Game Q&A.
Okay, I think we're saving our game.
No, we're not.
No, sorry,
We're doing
3.
setting routines.
We're setting routines, sorry.
These
we're
were
3.
also repeated
Yes.
3s. 3 for setting
Sorry,
routines
that's what I
as
meant.
a GM. 4 and we'll play a game, and 5 is other.
So we have 3
Math
threes
Guy
and a
Dave
1.
says, well, let's do a build a deity challenge. But the 3 threes are going to be tough to overthrow. Can anything get rid of the 3s? I do not think so. They only have a very short time. All right.
You'll vote for 1 next time?
Yes. But I think he likes the idea of setting routines for GMs. And I mean, if we have good GM tool ideas and everybody wants to do them, that's great with me. All right. So let us do setting routines for next Tuesday. And remember that Saturday's episode is going to be about good metagaming. So we could finally do like a weird thumbnail that's like metagaming is good! Exclamation mark, question mark.
Yes.
Something like that, right? Because that literally
Yeah,
is
it
what it's
is.
about. It's not like a
Yeah.
clickbait that's not about that.
Like one of
Metagaming is
those
good.
faces.
Ah, metagaming!
Yeah.
It'll be great. We'll make Linda do that face that she did just now.
Yeah, you
So,
can make me do that
be
face.
sure
You
to
just have
join us.
You just have to take a picture of me doing that.
Be sure to join us on Saturday for why metagaming is good, or on Tuesday for setting routines, which may include metagaming. Probably not.
Probably not.
Have a good week, everybody, and we will see you next time.